The walk into squat coupled with the around the world are great movements to help you improve range of motion in your ankles, hips, as well as strengthen your legs and build better control. But I do know that this movement can be difficult for you, so that's why today I'm going to break it down for you, help you improve your range of motion. The first order of business to get good at being able to walk into the squat is to have the necessary range of motion to get your butt as close to your heels as possible. And all you need to do is focus on keeping your feet shoulder width apart, making sure your knees are not caving in, and then just work on pulling your butt a little closer to your heels here, and you're going to hang out. Now, scooting your butt forward, then pushing down into the floor is a key point for this. It's not just the range of motion that we're working on. We're also trying to build strength in our arms to allow us to get our butt off of the ground. Right now though, don't worry about getting your butt off the ground. Just push into the ground and pull your hips forward, hang out in this position. Pull out of that position, shake your legs out a bit, and we're gonna go right back into this one more time, trying to go just a little bit deeper than we did before. Now, don't force it. There's no reason to do that. You wanna go at a pace and get into a position that's going to be good for you so that you're not forcing yourself into that position. Okay, so once you have your hips pretty close to your heels, it's time to start focusing more on the strength component of this. And all we're gonna do in the beginning for this is actually not have our hips close to our heels and instead focus on pulling our butt up off of the ground. I'm pushing away from the ground by pulling my chest up and then bringing my hips up. Once I'm able to do this, then I can start pulling my hips closer to my heels. This is going to further improve your range of motion, but also help you work on the necessary strength to allow you to get up into the squat position. And then I can pulse into this position about 5 times here. Then I'm pushing away from the floor, holding this in range, and then I'm relaxing out of it. The next thing that you can do from that is once you get into that in range is start to work your hands up just a tiny bit more. So I pull my hips up off of the floor, pull my hips forward into this in range, and then I pull my hands even closer. Next off, we're going to use something that's going to allow us to elevate ourselves just slightly up off of the floor. In my case, I'm using a yoga block. It could be a stack of books or whatever. The most important thing though is to make sure that it's something that's solid and won't topple over. Be safe. Now, I'm only using one, and this is going to make sense here in just a second. I do actually prefer using something to push off of rather than pulling yourself forward. And the reason for this is because the in movement that we're after is having us push off the floor. So by working on that, it's going to help us for that end movement. What I'm going to do here is with this hand on the floor and this hand on the block, basically do the exact thing I did before, but now I'm elevating. And so this is going to force me to push even harder into the floor as I pull myself forward. I'm going to go in and out these pulses. I can even bring the block a bit further. It's going to set me up a bit higher. And this way, going to further improve range of motion as well as strength in pushing down and through into this object. Shift it over to the opposite side, same deal. I'm really leaning into this block. The focus is more so on the block rather than this hand. Pushing into here, pulling my hips forward. I'm going to bring it back on this side and now go further into this by shifting the block further forward. I push into the block, pull my hips forward, pull the block forward, push even a bit more. You'll notice I'm starting to sit up into the squat. Don't worry about getting into it just yet. Go back out of it, opposite side, pushing into the block, pulling myself forward, walking closer to my heels here, further improving range of motion. You might not have the ability to sit in this deep squat just yet, and that's fine. The cool thing is this is where the block comes in. And so as you focus on pushing in, pull, slowly getting here, you can simply lift your hips to allow you to get into the squat that's going to be good for you. Bring this hand forward. Then you can take this hand, place it on the ground, scoot your block back, sit out of it. Now I can start going deeper and deeper into the squat. This is going to help to improve range of motion in my ankles, control, as well as I'm building strength, not just in my legs, but in that arm and being able to push away from the ground as I'm doing this. I can bring my hips up higher. I can now even load forward and test to see, am I ready to bring this hand forward? Yes, I am. I can put my hand back here, sitting out of it, go to the opposite side, slowly and gradually getting myself to the point where I can hang out in the squat and work to go deeper and deeper into the squat. I'm doing this at a pace that's good for me, working at a range of motion that is safe, not forcing the position. All right, the last phase is getting rid of that block. We already have the strength now because we focused on pushing down and through away from the floor, pulling that hand forward. So now it's just a matter of getting ourselves closer and closer to be able to push, load, and then pull this hand off the floor. Now don't force this as well. If you find you're still having trouble, it's cool. Go back and use that block. Just continue working on that with time, with due diligence and practice. This is going to happen. By working on this movement, you are going to be increasing the range of motion in your ankles, hip flexors. Therefore, you will be able to go deeper into your squat. And finally, we can add in that around the world. And this is where we're really starting to work on control and exploring the position. Yes, this might take time, but hey, by giving it that time, making sure that you're strengthening the arms, the legs, improving your range of motion, you won't lose this. It's not just something you learn just in one day and then you forget. No, by putting in the time, you're going to have that mobility and not lose it. So take the time, work on being able to walk up into the squat and play around with the around the world. All right, give it a try. Let me know how it goes for you by leaving a comment below.